Okay, so for people that don't know, what behind the story or didn't read the news story, do you want to just kind of explain what happened in your own words?
Sure. I was a reporter for the Houston Chronicle, which is Texas' largest daily newspaper.
Yeah.
And I was working there as a high society reporter and also as a general assignments reporter for the features department. I had also been a dancer for about 8 years, and I kept a blog called Diary of an Angry Stripper for the last 3 years or so. And a reporter from a rival newspaper there in Houston found that blog and wrote a story outing me to everybody in the city, not just to my superiors. And so I got fired from the Chronicle the next day.
Now, do you think your blog, did you write it under a pseudonym, or was it obvious that it was you? Was it something, say, your coworkers sort of knew about, or was it like a secret double life?
It wasn't something I really brought up at work because how do you bring that up at work? Like, it's not something you talk about. Also, I wasn't dancing very much while I was working at the Chronicle, just because I didn't have time to, and like dancers don't keep like a set schedule, so to speak, like maybe a normal office worker would, so I just wasn't working there very often. But my blog was such that I had a few pictures of my face to illustrate like my makeup application techniques, and a few pictures of like some outfits that I'd worn to work, like my Santa Claus outfits. I like Christmas at the strip club because all the girls dress up like in variations of Mrs. Claus, and I think it's really fun. So I posted some pictures of my outfits like that, so you could see me. And if you looked at the very bottom of each post, it did say posted by SarahTressler, which is not my whole name, but it's most of my name. But I wasn't like actively putting it out there. I didn't really think anybody would find it, actually. But
and how did they find it?
I don't know.
Don't know at all, or?
No, I have no idea. I never met the reporter who outed me, and I never asked him that. I just don't know how he found it. So.
Yeah, as we all know from being journalists, is that we don't make a lot of money, and in this day and age, you have to, make money as you can and all that. Did you feel that it was like something because the paper doesn't pay a lot of money that you have to make extra money, or is it just something you just enjoyed doing part-time because the camaraderie and all that?
It was nice to be able to have a way to make some extra money when I needed it. But while I was working there as a staff reporter, you're salaried. It's so nice to have a salary, by the way, compared to, just making money as you can get it as a dancer, as a freelance writer. So, it was nice to have that money. It wasn't imperative that I had made that money. It was also just nice to be able to go into the club and get that workout. It's a workout that you can't really do at the gym without having people kind of standing around and staring at you. There aren't a whole lot of pole studios that are available where you can just do a pole workout, especially like the kind where you already know what you're doing and you don't want to have a teacher trying to tell you how to do some really basic stuff. And also, I've been at that club for like 7 years. I had made some friends there. I was friends with the managers, DJs, waitresses, other dancers, some of the other dancers, and it's nice to be able to just go back into a place where I had, made some connections and see those people again. So it's not like, you leave a job and you never see those people again. I can go back there, work, get a workout, make a little money, see some friends. It was almost like a recreational thing at the point at which I was working as a staff reporter.
And what kind of stuff were you writing? You say high society for the Houston Chronicle. What does that mean exactly? Like what kind of stories?
So those stories aren't that interesting. You can see almost everything that I wrote is online at cron.com. If you just do a search for my name, SarahTressler, you'll see the stories that I wrote. But for the high society beat, I would go to charity galas and balls, charity luncheons, cocktail parties to kick off these various events. They have a cocktail party to kick off sometimes another kickoff cocktail party months in advance of a big event, like, the opera ball or something like that. So I would just go to these events, make note of who was there, who was being honored, who was chairing the event, and just write a little 4-inch blurb about, about what was happening, who the money's being raised for, how much money was raised, if we have a number. These stories were really short. I probably didn't even have to go to most of these things, but, it's nice to show your face and, so they get used to seeing you. So, but that was just a slice of what I did at the Chronicle. I did a lot of other stuff too.
And what are your feelings towards the Chronicle?
The Chronicle is a newspaper?
You could take that first part, Chronicle is a newspaper.
It's a good newspaper.
What about as far as the actions which they proceeded with?
I just thought that they would be a little more sophisticated. Dancing is a legal occupation, so I don't know why they felt that it was necessary to terminate me from that position, because I was doing a lot of work for them, and I'd been told by several of my editors that I was doing a great job. They were happy to have me. So it seems silly to me that they would fire me the day after they find out that I've been working as a stripper. Because especially in Houston, Texas, we have a lot of strip clubs, and there are a lot of girls that work in strip clubs, and I would like to think that they all wouldn't have to worry about getting fired from their jobs. They're not only strippers. Some of them are only strippers, but some of them have other jobs, and they shouldn't have to be worried about getting fired from their jobs either. So I was very disappointed that they decided to go that route.
Yeah, and don't strip clubs in Texas, don't they have like a $5 fee that goes directly to charity, or is that something new?
There's two $5 fees now. So one is a poll tax that was enacted a few years ago, and I'm not sure where that goes. The other one that you might be talking about right now is new, and it goes to the city to help them pay for the backlog of rape kits that HPD's been having on the shelves for like years, some of them for years now. So I don't know how fair that is either, but
What is that?
Their reasoning is that they say that strip club customers, I guess, commit more rapes, but I haven't seen any research to back that up. And the story that I read said that they didn't really have much research to back that up either. But it's legislation that's been enacted, so.
Oh right. Oh, okay. I didn't think of it on that sort of creepy level. Like, it's like you're gonna maybe rape, so pay up some money.
Yeah, $5.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of icky. It doesn't feel
put
right.
a smile on your face as you walk in.
No, it doesn't feel good, because it feels like, I don't know, it just sort of falls into these negative conceptions that people have about strip clubs and
Right.
the patrons.
And how do they break the news to you at the Chronicle? Not to make you relive it again, but.
The story broke on a Monday. That afternoon, I was called into my editor-in-chief's office in the presence of an HR representative, and kind of had a meeting about, are you still doing this? Is this story true? And told me that he needed to think about it, had me come in the following day, that Tuesday, and then that Tuesday talked to me a little bit more, and then fired me.
Yeah.
And said that the reason why was because I didn't list dancing as previous employment on my job application under the section where it says list all previous employment.
Really? So that was their main thing, is that it just wasn't on their application?
That was his official reason, because you didn't list exotic dancing on your job application.
Well, I guess he's saying that to avoid lawsuits.
Well, we filed a complaint with the EEOC anyway.
And tell me about the complaint. What is the actual, just no grounds for termination, or?
Gloria Allred is helping me with that, and it's a gender discrimination complaint. And we are submitting that the reason for my termination was pretextual, and that and that I was fired for being a stripper, and if in fact I was fired for being a stripper, then that could have a negative impact on women, because by and large the exotic dancing industry is dominated by women. So if you're being fired for being in that industry, you're firing women, and
Right.
women are a protected class. So let's not fire our strippers, is what I would say.
Yeah, and I just couldn't imagine, like, because I've written for papers and I feel bad when I get like negative letters to the editor about my stories. How did it feel when you saw the rival paper list? How did you find out about it?
That story was so snarky. The way that guy wrote it, his name's Richard Connolly. He's a reporter for the Houston Press, and the way he wrote that story, it was just, he was taking jabs at my blog. He made it out to be like I've been planning this all along, and I'm trying to get a movie deal or something like that. God, he was just kind of a jerk about it. And then I did Good Morning America, and I suddenly had all this publicity, and it wasn't where I wanted to be, but he pushed me into that spotlight, so I sent him a bouquet to his office. I've never met that guy though.
Kill him with kindness.
Like, he's like, jerk.
Yeah. But was it like one of those things where you just felt like all the air come out of the room, or something like that when you read it, or?
It was more like, I don't know, it was just awful when I started reading it. He had a picture of me from my blog, and I was just like, I can't believe that this guy is writing like this about me. I mean, it's one thing to expose me for being a stripper, and to expose me with the angle that I'm a high society Houston Chronicle reporter, and this is a dig that he's taking directly at the Chronicle, and the Houston Press has a reputation for doing that. Because he could have also made it that I was a University of Houston college instructor, and he didn't. That was not his angle. But
So you're also an instructor at the university?
Yeah, I teach a class there, so I mean, that was mentioned, but that was not his focus.
Right.
So it was clearly just a dig at the Chronicle. So,
Do you think they would have dismissed you if you wrote a different kind of like lifestyle column, but because it was high society?
We have a reporter there who writes a lifestyle column. She certainly hasn't been fired. She kind of promotes it through her writing at the Chronicle. Actually.
Oh, she's a dancer as well?
No, she's not a dancer, but she writes a blog about fashion or something.
Right.
So I mean.
Yeah. So, but finally, where do you go from here? I mean, a lot of national exposure. That's for any writer, that's good.
Well, we went ahead and just turned my blog into a book. That blog was actually at a point where I'd written enough material where it was like, I feel like I'm starting to get to the end of this now, where I was ready to kind of wrap that blog up. And so whenever this happened, I was just like, well, I had a publisher in January earlier this year who mentioned that she was interested in turning the blog into a book, but I got her call on the same day that I got the call from the Houston Chronicle wanting to hire me. So I decided to not do a book and to work for the Chronicle. But after I got fired, all bets were off. Okay, I might as well do the book. So the book is Diary of an Angry Stripper. It's available now on Kindle, iBook, Nook. You can also pre-order hard copies at diaryofanangrystripper.com. And right now, I'm on a tour. I will be dancing at clubs around the United States. I'll be at headquarters tonight in New York City. I'll be at Cheerleaders tomorrow night, and the night after that in Philadelphia. And I'll be at Crazy Horse in Las Vegas in July.
Great.
Come see me. We can chat.
Will do indeed. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.